Hi Tribers, I'm here to show you a little bit of how to get a design going on your Glowforge. Something easy and fun, especially if you have a bride in your family. You can go to Inkscape because it is the easiest way I have found to design something and then pull it into the Glowforge space. It's not design space. I used to Cricut a lot and still do, and it's design space on Cricut. On the Glowforge, it's just their interface. So you have to do things in like Inkscape or Corel Draw or Adobe Illustrator and pull them into your Glowforge interface. So I've done this. I've made my text box with bride in it with a really cute font. You can use any font you want. The text box is down here with the letter A, and you open it and write what you want in whatever font you want. Here's how you can pick your fonts up here. I know those of you who Cricut know to go to DeFont and you get the zip file and you unload it, you unpack it, and it'll be there for you to use. So I did bride. I used File, and I imported some of the leaves I've saved over the years of doing Cricut and different things. They were free clip art images. And I put one on the side of bride, and then I flipped it. I duplicated it and flipped it. Then what I did was I made sure to group them. And so I go over here to the Object tab, and you hit Group, which is a lot like Cricut. Then you go to the Path button, and you want to do the Union because that's like Weld in Cricut. Then you also want to hit Object to Path. It's very important that you turn it a color like I did here with the blue. If you want to engrave, cut, score, each one of those functions needs to be a different color so the Glowforge recognizes it's a different path. So, because you're using a vector file. So I did this all blue because I'm going to engrave this entire thing. If I was going to score the leaves, they would be red. If I was going to cut something out, which I am not, out of a 1/2 inch thick hanger, I would have to make it a whole nother color. All right, so now once this is here, I can close it, and you go to this upload button in the interface of Glowforge. I've already done this, but I'll show you another one. I'll hit upload, and we can do my acrylic light logo. So we'll put that in there, we'll hit open, and it will pull that acrylic light logo into the design space, which you can already see here and here. Okay. Now, because I don't want to make another acrylic light, by the way, this is a free resource on my website without my logo on it. You'll get this to customize however you want in Inkscape. I measured it and I made it so that it would fit perfectly. But go back, and now you're going to load the bride. You're going to hit open, and it's going to tell you that it's going to render the design. So we're going to put the hanger in the bed, and then we will hit the button and make sure this is the right size for the hanger and make a bride hanger. This is a great idea for brides, and you can personalize it. It wouldn't have to say bride. It could say the future Mrs. Blethen, or Mrs. Stoddard to be, or mother of the bride, bridesmaids, maids of honor. You get the idea, and it would make your pictures so extra special. And the photographers love to take pictures of the dresses hanging. It's a beautiful still shot of your special day. And so if you have any brides in your family, this would be a great way to do it. You could do it on their robes for when they're getting ready to hang up their robes if you gave them cute little robes. It's used in a variety of ways. So join me when I get the hanger done, and I'll show you our finished project. All right, Tribers, I thought it might be helpful to even show you further how to take this to completion. So I put the hanger in the bed. It's laying on the crumb tray. I've got my image here. I'm going to click and drag it to my hanger. I can resize it, center it, make sure it's lined up the way I want it to be. I can make it tiny or bigger to get it to look just like I want it to look. Make sure you always have a box around it so that you can drag it. You can isolate your images. See, when one turns blue, I can take those away, but I don't want to do that. I want it to stay proportionately centered. So I can do that by boxing it. Then I'm going to address this unknown materials. I'm going to tell it it's uncertified because it's not proof grade. I know that it's a 1/2 inch thick. You use digital calipers to determine that. You hit submit. you come over here to your settings, and I did manual. I already told it that I wanted it to engrave, okay? I don't want it to cut, and I don't want it to score. Then I'm going to go to the manual, meaning I am manually setting them. I'm going to let the speed stay at 1,000, and I'm going to hit around 80. That's the higher the power, the more intense of a burn you get in theory. All right, so we're ready to go. When it's in pink, that lets you know it is ready, and you see the ready word up here. If it says there's no artwork, it means you did not set some of these settings over here. All right, so we're going to hit ready to print, and that magic button on the Glowforge is going to start to blink. You can hear it getting ready. It's going to tell us how long this will take to laser in just a second. When it's all prepared, it will give us a time of how much time we need to be available, because you don't walk away from a machine that is running. That could be a fire hazard if you're not there watching it to shut it down if for some reason you had a flame up. All right, so proof grade material is not found, and it's telling it could be the wrong material, because you want to be careful. Don't laser certain plastics or vinyls because they release toxic gas. So it's just warning you that. This is wood, so we're okay. It's going to take 2 minutes and 48 seconds, and then I'll show you the finished project. See you in a bit. Tribers, I had a thought it might be better to take you all the way there and show you the steps of once it's on your bed of your Glowforge. So I have it here where you set your settings. When it says unknown, you need to tell it if it's proof grade material from Glowforge or uncertified, meaning anywhere else. You give it a thickness. Digital calipers are helpful with this, and I know it's a 1/2 inch thick, and I hit submit. Okay. Then I come and set the settings here. I want to go back and show you how you set, whether you're cutting, etching, engraving. So you can engrave, you can cut, you can score, or you can ignore parts of it. Let's say there's a piece of this you didn't want. You could ignore the leaf file by taking it apart. And I'll show you that in just a minute. I'll have to do that on a tripod for you to see it. But you go down here to manual, and this is where you're going to set it at full speed and about 80, because the higher the power, the more intense of a burn the laser will give you. And so 80 works nice on this wood without giving it too much of a char. Then you have this image that you can click and move. I'm gonna put this on a tripod so I can show you better what I mean, since I need my hands on my computer. Okay, hopefully you can see this. You may have to zoom on your screen to be able to see what I'm doing better here. The glare is hard on a computer screen. But here's the word bride. It's in pink. Notice how when I cursor over elements of this design, they'll turn blue. That's because you can separate them still at this point, which is handy if you want to ignore or delete something occasionally, but not necessarily every time you use the file. So I'm going to put a box, I'm going to click and drag a box around it so that I can move my whole piece over the hanger, and this gives me a chance to resize it and set it exactly the way I want to. And I get to see it in real life in that tray. It also tells me I'm ready to print. It's in the hot pink, which indicates it knows that the artwork is there. It's telling me it's going to be 2 minutes and 48 seconds to complete this project. So I'll show you the finished piece when we get back. I'm ready to hit the magic button. Tribers, here's the finished hanger. I love how it came out. It's a great look for hanging a bridal dress on for your photographer. You could do it with their name and make it really special and personalized, with Mrs. Blethyn or the future Mrs. Stoddard or something cute like that. And you could do one for the mother of the bride or the flower girl's maid of honor, the whole bridal party. They could be personalized or just have their titles on there, and it's a great photo op. It just makes your pictures look that much more special.